When you're doing a PhD, advice comes from everywhere, and here are the best bits of advice that I've heard directly from a supervisor to myself, my supervisor to other people in a group meeting, or that I've heard third or second or fourth hand. You get the idea. This is the genius level advice. The first thing is I've heard someone say, whoa, slow down, take your time. You're here for quite some time. This is along the same lines of it's a marathon, not a sprint. And someone actually said to me, my co-supervisor during my PhD said to me, be careful, you may even end up with something publishable in your first year. Now, I was a little bit taken back by this because at first I thought it was just like a little bit of like oh, this is good. But on reflection, I think, the first year of your PhD does give you the opportunity to fail and fail fast. Now, doing the easy experiments to kind of ease yourself in to the research, or doing the easy bit of reading, coming up with the easy parts of the research, like that gives you a little bit of confidence to start. Start with the easy stuff, but then you should immediately start looking for the ambitious things. The ambitious things tend to take as much time as the unambitious stuff. So in the early stages, you want to be failing regularly, failing often, and also do not go all out. I remember my first sort of like few weeks, my supervisor was like, whoa, hang on, this is good, you're doing all this stuff, but let's slow it down a bit. Let's think about what we're going to do. This is your time to kind of plan a little bit more. So I did go in, I hit the ground running, and I think that's some great advice, is slow down, fail fast, fail frequently. Don't just sort of like rely on the easy experiments to put runs on the board. Once you've just sort of like warmed up to your new field, it's time to start doing the ambitious stuff. Slow down, be deliberate, don't rush, and in those early days, fail a lot. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. So when you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks. Everything from the tools I use, how to write the perfect abstract, the podcasts I've been on, my TEDx talk, and more is exclusive content available for free on that newsletter. So go sign up now. We all get a little bit glum when things aren't going our way, but there has been some genius level advice when people have turned up to a group meeting and they're like, oh, it's not working. And it's along the lines of, you don't stop working when you hit a problem, you start working when you hit a problem. And that's the one thing, the mindset sort of shift that you need to make as a PhD student or a researcher, is that when you tackle or come up against a problem that just seems so immovable, you do have to start working on that problem. It's not that you get there and you go, oh, well, that's too difficult. Yes, the difficultness means that on the other side of that problem may be some gold. Now, there has to be a moment, obviously, where you say, well, this isn't going to work, I'm going to change my direction. But in the early stages of your PhD, coming up against problems is a fantastic thing to realize and tackle. So you don't stop once you start hitting a problem. That is when the hard work starts. And it should be something that gets you a little bit excited because, hitting that problem means that you are probably going to break new ground. If other people have had that problem and they've given up, this is your opportunity to push through that problem just a little bit and decide to see what's on the other side, put that effort in. So don't stop working when you hit a problem. That's the signal. You need to start working hard. Another bit of genius level advice that has been given to me during my PhD and my career in academia has been, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. We can all settle on our laurels. We can all settle into the easy experiments or the easy parts of our research, and we can sit there and go, this is what it should be like. I am winning all the time. And it comes from our undergraduate years where winning is being comfortable. Winning is knowing what to say in an exam and getting those grades. In a PhD, especially in the early days, failing is a good sign. It is a sign that you're making progress. So trying to fail, putting in time to fail, doing experiments that you think will fail, but maybe you'll find something interesting out while failing. That is what it's all about. One of the supervisors that wasn't in my group, but supervised one of my friends, said to him, if 80% of your papers aren't being rejected by the editor, you are not aiming high enough. So his sort of benchmark for success was getting 80% of his papers rejected. Because you know what? It is a little bit of a lottery. If you start publishing or submitting your papers to higher impact factor journals, sometimes they'll slip on through and you never know what may happen. Now, that comes from a position of having a full-time academic sort of tenured track position. So it doesn't mean that you should try to fail as much as this guy. I really think that's a very privileged position, which meant that he had time to watch this paper bounce around for like 6 months to a year. If you're doing a PhD, you probably don't have that amount of time, but do aim a little bit higher. Maybe not 80% rejection rate, but if you're just going to places where you know your paper will get accepted, maybe aim a little bit higher. Why not? Let it bounce around. Let it bounce until it finds its own home. That's what I did, and I think it was a very valuable bit of advice. So, fail often, fail more, and if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. I love this little bit of advice given to me by one of my last supervisors. He said to me, present to me, don't tell me. And at first I was like, oh, don't you tell me to present to you, you little, who do you think I am, like a jester performing for the king? But in fact, I think that inside that bit of advice is some very valuable information along the lines of presentation is really what makes people listen to you and your science. Now, the problem is that a lot of the time, science is very much like, here's some facts, here's some things. And I say science, but any research, any research you do, you'll sit there and you'll be like, here's the thing I found. People don't respond well to data, information just given to them. It needs to be presented to them. I always think about Mythbusters when I think about science presentation. Yeah, it was a bit kitsch, but they always made it interesting. They presented the science in a way that made it fun and attractive to a broad audience. And that's really what you've got to do. And presenting your work to your supervisor rather than just showing or telling them, like present a story rather than the information that you have just found out. If you're, talking in a group meeting, if you're giving a presentation in front of people, you got to make sure that there is a sort of like showbiz factor. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have crazy like lights or, like a characters or anything like that, but being more engaging, coming up with a story, putting your own spin on things, showing a little bit of personality makes a huge difference when people are receiving information. And one thing I always like to say when I've been given talks in the past about science communication is that people don't remember what you say, but they remember how you made them feel while you were speaking to them. So if someone gets the sense that, oh, this is interesting science, this is relevant science, this is exciting science, that's all they really take away from it. They can come and look up the details later on, but it's about making that impression. So yeah, start presenting data, no matter if it's one-on-one, if it's to a group, if you're doing it, to kind of your research cohort, it doesn't matter. Just present more than you sort of like show, and I think you'll be in a much better position for making your science and your kind of like personal brand in science clearer and bolder. Another great bit of advice is that a finished thesis is the best thesis. Now, we can all sort of relate to the perfectionism that sits around writing academically, and also just like, when you're sending out your ideas into the world, you want it to be perfect because you feel judged. When you hand out a bit of paper with all of your thoughts on it, you want to be seen as a genius, right? That's what we all want. But ultimately, at the end of the day, getting through your thesis or your peer-reviewed papers, if you're going by publication, it doesn't really sort of help you if you're just crafting the perfect sentences all the time. Remember that you're working towards completion of your PhD, and getting sort of like the tick of approval from your supervisor to submit is all that you're really working towards. And they will not be looking for like groundbreaking research, awesomely kind of like worded sentences. They are just looking for ideas presented logically to convince their peers that you should be inducted into their clan, their PhD sort of cult group. And that's really what it's all about. So yes, remember that perfection kills progress, and a finished thesis is the best thesis. Done. So there we have it. There's all of the best advice that I think I've been given throughout my PhD and my academic career, or that I've seen other people give to other people. You get it. All right, then let me know in the comments what you would add. And also go check out academiainsider.com. That's my website where I've got my ebook, The Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, as well as PhD Survival Guide, which is coming out in the next few weeks. No, probably next week. Anyway, go check it out there because those ebooks are super valuable, and it's also home to my Academia Insider forum where we help each other become better academics. All right then, until next time, I'll see you in the next video.